Who's that?
Finally, the Love Island producers have heard us. Finally, they've decided to bring in Omar. I don't know whether it's because they weren't hearing us or whether it's because nobody wanted to come in. And I think Omar has decided that I'd rather go in and save my sister than, just stay at home and watch her sort of be wasted away. So I'm happy that he's in. And I loved the reception. I loved the way Harriet ran and was jumping and was ecstatic to see him. Even Ronnie, this was amazing. The audacity of Luca to say, "Who's that?" as though he didn't know who it was. Part of me believes that he knows that there was something between Grace and, Omar, and this is why he wanted to make it seem like Omar was irrelevant. I can't wait. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island All Stars, Season 2, Episode 17. So it's after recoupling and Ekin-Su won't even look at, Danielle. And it's like, why? What's wrong? What has she done? She has done exactly what you did. You came in as a bombshell and you stole Curtis from Kaz. So please take several seats. I'm not buying whatever nonsense you're trying to sell us. You have, Elma step forward and, so everybody knows it's not, Danielle's fault. It's all on Curtis. And it's like, you don't need to speak up for the class. Everybody is aware. Everybody was in the villa. Everybody saw everything that took place. Curtis reassures, Danielle that he's okay. He'll be fine. He'll sort himself out. And so you have Catherine go up to him. This is why the other day I was saying Catherine needs to stay out of these people's business. And I'm happy that Omar's coming in because hopefully he'll keep her busy and she'll stop minding these people's business before it falls back on her. So she's trying to have a conversation with Curtis, and Curtis keeps saying that, I don't want to hear what anyone has to say at the moment. And she's still standing there, and I feel like going into my TV and dragging her to say, Catherine, leave these people's business alone. These people, when your time comes, they'll never fight for you. Because after the backlash she faced in the villa the last time, nobody stood up and defended her for public perception. So please, I'm not buying it. Ekin-Su goes to, Ronnie. She starts, confiding in him. She's so sad. This shouldn't have happened to her. Why is it happening to her? And it's like, nah, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. You are not married to this man. You and him were exploring a connection. Yes, you told each other you had closed off, which didn't make sense after 7 days. And so whether you thought that would lock him in and he wouldn't turn his head to anybody else, well, that's your business. You have Danielle go and have a conversation with Ron, sort of just telling him that I'm sorry, but I didn't pick you. But I felt that I had a stronger bond with Curtis and I'm still open to sort of getting to know you. And that seems fine. Ron just seems fine. Ron just is happy to be in the villa. That's all he's happy about. Everything else, he doesn't care. As long as he can stay in the villa, if he finds a connection, amazing. If he doesn't, amazing. As far as he's concerned. You have Sammy and Elma go up to the terrace to have a conversation. Sadly, they've been overshadowed by this Ekin-Su business and Curtis. So they go up to the terrace and he's sort of telling her, I've managed to say everything that I've been dying to say to you. I'm so happy that finally we get to sort of explore this. And it's like, I'm going to repeat again. Alma was the one who said if Ronnie and Harriet wanted to explore their connection, they could have done that in the real world. Same applies to her and Sammy. The door's open. They can just take a step out. They're not providing any entertainment. Sammy didn't provide entertainment in his season and is still not providing entertainment now, so would rather not do with him. You have Curtis finally pull Ekin-Su for a chat and they go to the fire pit. This was a performance. This was, I don't even know what year performance of high school, because they went to the fire pit, had a conversation, and she was sort of, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And it's like, he should have said, okay, fine. He didn't need to entertain her. For her to spill the drink, you could tell, look, I knew it was a performance. This is my theory. My theory is Ekin-Su finding out that she wasn't, a fan favorite really shook her. And so she's decided that her and Curtis are going to give the people what they want. That what they loved about her in her season is what she's giving them. Because even spilling the drink, you could see the eye roll from Luca that it wasn't genuine. It was a performance. And whether or not Curtis is in on the performance is something else. But Ekin-Su has decided to bring out old Ekin-Su in hopes of winning the viewers. And I hope people don't fall for it. She already won 25K. She can go home and spend that if she still has that. Otherwise, it is what it is. She storms off. Curtis is sitting there and just watching her, and everybody else in the villa is sort of taken aback, and it's like, why are we surprised? This is the real Ekin-Su. She's now stepped into the chat. The representative that you were meeting was not it. So you have everyone, the guys gather around Curtis and they're wanting to find out what happened. How did they get to where they are with Ekin-Su? You have Catherine run after Ekin-Su. She's trying to find out what Curtis said. And Ekin-Su is saying that, he's told me that maybe you shouldn't have sort of closed things off with me, and he led me on a bed. And it's like, what did you expect? What did you expect? Curtis was so easy to steal from Kaz. This was bound to happen. Yes, you didn't expect it, but anyone with eyes to see could see that, yes, he was content in that couple just because he knew that would keep him safe. And now realizing that she's not a fan favorite, he's ready to move on. The guys, asked Curtis, were you honest with her? And he said, yes, I was honest. I told her the truth. And you had Scott say, that's all you can ask for. As long as you told her the truth, it is what it is. And I wish he had just told her that we're done. I wish he had told her we're done. Because for her to scream and shout and say we're done, he should have taken it and put it down and said, okay, she's told me she's done. I'm going to put all my attention in Danielle, and that's where I'm going to rest, and I'm going to leave everything alone. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be begging someone to like you. You don't want to be begging someone to love you. The villa is too small for you to be spending 24/7 with someone who you're not getting along with. So you have Ekin-Su busy moaning to the girls instead of complaining and sort of telling them that he led her on, and everybody's empathizing with her. And it's like, why are we all sucking up to Ekin-Su? Anyway, you have Curtis come up and he asks Danielle to go for a talk. And it's like, Curtis is done with Ekin-Su's nonsense. He's ready to move on. He really is, because the audacity to call, Danielle for a chat. Yes, he needed to tell her that he was sleeping outside, but he could have done it elsewhere. He did it right where she could see him, and right at the fire pit where Ekin-Su had just spilled a drink on him. And it's like, he is rubbing it in. He is milking it. He did tell, Danielle that I'm going to sleep outside and I'm going to just take time to reflect on what's going on, and then we'll see what happens next. And so she was okay with it, because at the end of the day, she doesn't want any stress. So she's going to do whatever makes her comfortable and the person she's in a couple with. You have all the islanders go to bed. And this is still the topic of discussion, this Curtis Ekin-Su drama. And it's like, this is what Ekin-Su wanted. She was tired of being in the background. So she's decided to produce herself and create this scenario that's not necessary. Ekin-Su slept downstairs with Ronnie because they're both single, and everybody else slept upstairs outside of Curtis, who slept outside. And it's like, oh, this is too much. So they all go to sleep, and in the morning they come into the bedroom, and while they're in the bedroom, they're sort of just, I think it's aux galore, because nobody knows what to say or what to do. So you have Ekin-Su jump into bed with Catherine. I don't know when she became best friends with Catherine. I think Catherine could do better for friends, but hey, that's just me. So Catherine receives a text message that says, Catherine and Grace, you've been picked to go on a date. Please get ready to leave the villa. Hashtag babes will brunch, and then hashtag get your flirt on. And it's like, wow, they're excited. Everyone is excited for Catherine, because Catherine hasn't been in a romantic couple since she came into the villa. So everyone is ecstatic that she's finally got someone who has sort of shown interest in her. When Montel came into the villa, people were excited for Catherine because they thought he would pick her, but he didn't. He went for Kaz. So now they're in this situation whereby they're hoping that this is her person. She gets ready with Grace and they leave. And Luca is busy in the kitchen, making a hot drink, making a cold drink, making sure he puts his A game, and his best foot forward. And it's like, wow, it's not that deep, Luca. Anyway, you have Ekin-Su having a conversation with Harriet and Elma, and she's sort of complaining. She's still moaning about, oh, he lied to me, he led me on, and so I'm not going to pull him for a chat. I'm not going to say anything. And they're both saying to her that you need to have a conversation with him, and she agrees she needs to have a conversation, but also at the same time, she's going to play games. It is Ekin-Su, of course. She's going to play games and expect him to grovel. And so she was saying she's not going to pull him for a chat. She's going to wait for him to come and pull her for a chat. And as though he heard her, he went and he pulled Danielle for a chat. And it's like, Curtis is petty. Curtis is petty at his finest. You went, you pulled her for a chat, you was having a conversation and sort of asking her, how was your night? I'm good, how are you? And it's like, this is a bit too much. This is unnecessary. This is not necessary. And so Ekin-Su was now boiling because she was saying, it's in my line of vision. How can you do this? And it's like, what do you expect? You started the drama. Now he's about to finish it. We as the viewers are going to sit here and watch it. So the bombshell is revealed, and the bombshell is Omar from last season. We all know, he was played. He was kicked out of the villa just because somebody else felt inadequate, and they felt insecure, so they kicked him out. He was kicked out by Sean because Sean insisted that he go home because Sean wanted Matilda. So Omar comes out. His first date is with Grace. Grace is happy to see him, but Grace is smart. Grace has just found out that Luca is the fan favorite. She's not going to leave Luca for Omar, regardless of whether she likes him or not. She's not. Because I remember when they left the villa, she was taking pictures with Omar. That was suggestive, as though they were dating. So the idea that she would leave Omar now that he's available for Luca doesn't make sense, outside of the fact that she sees this as her way of winning. She wants to leave as a winner. She's not here to play games. And so I get it. And she was a bit dismissive with Omar and very vague in what she was saying, more or less telling him that I'm good, I'm not moving. And it's like, yeah, we know. After all she's done in bed, yeah, I guess it makes sense. You have Gabby sit down for a conversation with Scott. Scott is saying to Gabby, he's really tried his best, but sadly there's nothing there with Tina. And it's like, we all knew it. We all knew it. We don't even know why she was kept in the villa. This is why they should have dumped a couple and not 3 people, because now Scott has changed his mind and he wants to jump ship. And what will happen next? What will happen next? Make it make sense. So he says he's not feeling it. Yes, she ticks all the boxes, but sadly there's nothing there. And he has a feeling that it won't go any further. And it's like, so you were only good for 24 hours after she was saved. And then after that, you're back to square one. Make that make sense? I don't get it. So Omar's next date is with Catherine. Catherine is giddy. Catherine is excited. Apparently they have met on social events. I did say this, but the thing is they've never explored romantically, which is good. Obviously Catherine is single. He finds out she's single, and there was a lot of flirting back and forth. There was really a lot of flirting. I can see them as a couple. I can see them. Omar is amazing. He's a very good looking guy. So I can see them as a couple. I want them to get to the end. We deserve at least another couple to win again, not just Mimi and Josh, but hey, it is what it is. So they come back to the villa. The reception Omar received was better than anyone else that has walked into the villa, including Ekin-Su herself. The way Harriet was so giddy and was jumping up and down like a little kid. Ronnie was excited because they're from the same season and they've met on social events, and Omar always gives positive vibes. He seems like a very good guy, and unless you cross him, and then when you cross him, he actually brings out, you actually get to meet the bad side of him. So it was cute to see how he was received. For Luca to say, who's that? It's like, well, just because you don't know him doesn't mean everybody else doesn't know him. And so the way Harriet jumped and the way Ronnie received him was enough for Luca to realize that actually this guy, as much as he didn't last in the villa a long time, he left quite a positive impact. He then goes to sit down by the fire pit with the girls to have a conversation. The boys sit down on their own, to have a conversation. And then it comes up that he fought with Joey Essex, and that he had the thing with Grace inside and outside the villa. And it was like, I love this. I love this humble Luca. If he thought he was better than, Omar, humble him so that he knows that this person you're showing off with, Omar has already been there, done that. So Luca was now nervous. Omar spoke to the girls, wanted to find out who's in a couple, who's not in a couple, where do you stand in regards to your couples. All the girls were happy. They all seemed very excited to see him. And then you had Grace. You had Grace pull Luca for a conversation. I think she was trying to reassure him because of the fact that suddenly we saw PDA, she was kissing him and making out with him. And it's like, why are you using that to reassure him? Your words should be enough to sort of say to him, I'm not interested in anybody else. You don't need to force yourself on him to sort of make him feel some type of way. I don't quite understand the connection between Grace and Luca. I really don't. It feels like the producers just brought in Grace for Luca so that Luca could have someone to get him to the final, because it seems there are certain people in the villa, or the producers seem to have come up with their, top 3, top 4. So I can't wait to see what happens with that mess. You have Omar pull Ekin-Su for a chat. She's the first girl in the villa that is pulled for a chat. And Ekin-Su is sort of saying to him, I'm surprised you picked me. I would have thought you would have avoided me and gone to everybody else, because most of the guys that have come in have been intimidated by me. And so they've gone for everybody else bar me. So it's surprising that you came for me. And he said, well, I'm not intimidated. I actually find it attractive. This is why I wanted to have a conversation with you to see where you stand and what's going on. For Ekin-Su to say, I'm done with Curtis. If you continue to say you're done, let it be done. Don't just say you're done for mouth, for lip service. The number of times Ekin-Su has said she's done with Curtis, I think it's more lip service. I think she thinks the louder she says it, the more intimidated and the more sort of anxious Curtis becomes, and then he'll come back to her. I hope he doesn't go back to her. I really hope so, because at the end of the day, she is there for the drama, and I don't think he's someone who will cope with a dramatic girl. Anyway, someone else will steal him from Danielle if, Danielle keeps him, because it seems he's easily stolen. They did talk, but I didn't quite understand. I don't see, Omar with Ekin-Su. I think he likes the chat. He likes exploring, because the last time he was in the villa, he didn't get to explore with a lot of people. And he actually said so that my last time here, I didn't get to explore. So this time I'm open to getting to know a lot of people. I need to speak to everybody and see where they stand and see, if I have a better connection with anyone else. And it's like, I'm here for it. I love it. I love, someone who's self-reflective and is able to make the changes needed. So he's looked at his previous journey, he's realized the mistakes he's made, and he's decided to try something new. So the islanders get ready for the night. Obviously, the main buzz in the villa, outside of the fact that Omar is there, is the fact that, Ekin-Su is still pissed. She is upset with Curtis, and she's letting everybody with ears hear that she doesn't want anything to do with her. The guys are sort of trying to suss out Curtis, where he stands. Who is he going to pick if there's a recoupling, or what is he going to do? Is he going to have a chat and make up with Ekin-Su? Nobody knows, because he's been very vague. And I think this is because he really likes Danielle, and he's really been put off, or he's got the ick from Ekin-Su throwing a drink on him. While the guys are in the bedroom, Casey receives a message to say, Islanders, tonight there'll be a recoupling in which the boys will choose which girl they want to recouple with. As the newest arrival, Omar will have the first pick and the first choice. And it's like, yeah, he deserves to. He deserves to have the first choice after all. So they all go out once they are dressed, and the guys sort of, there's a mini debrief with the producers. I think they're trying to get people to sort of have conversations just before the recoupling so that everyone knows where they stand. And with Ekin-Su is still furious. Curtis is being very vague as usual. He doesn't want anyone to know where he stands in regards to who he's going to pick. I don't know whether that was his own choice or whether that was producer's choice, because they knew it was going to be their cliffhanger. So, you have everyone sort of having conversations in regards, what are we going to do? Where do you stand? Danielle is just saying she's now left it up to Curtis, because Curtis still hadn't closed things off with her at that point, unless she didn't tell us, unless it was edited out. She hadn't sort of closed things off with Curtis. She was actually happy and was saying, now that tensions have eased a bit, at least now they can sort of dig in and see if there's anything there. And so the islanders receive a text message to gather around the fire pit, and it's like, wow, it's about to go down. So they gather around the fire pit, and a message comes up for Omar to get first pick. So all the girls stand at the front of the fire pit waiting to be chosen. And first up is Omar. And he did say, he really liked the girl that he was going to pick, and they had a strong connection, but he was still open to exploring connections with other people. And this is the thing that people were upset with Josh for last time. But I think the producers always encourage this, because otherwise it makes it seem like, someone was very strategic in their coming in, and they were only after one person, and they're not going to move on from anyone, and they're not, so it made sense for him to say he's still open to exploring connections with other people. Luca when he chose Catherine, wasn't happy because of the comment that, I'm still open to getting to know everyone else and seeing if there's anything there. Because Luca is worried about Grace. So Omar picks Catherine. That was good. Next up is Luca. Luca goes into his little spiel. Oh, my journey began when she walked in, and I feel like, I'm having an amazing time. And so he picks Grace. The fact that there was a lot of PDA, Grace is overcompensating. She is overcompensating. And I think her kissing Luca was to try and tell Omar to say, leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with you. It didn't make sense why she felt the need to sort of go in and do all that, PDA. What for? Unless you're trying to make a statement, unless you're trying to make sure that somebody knows that you're not here for that and you are happy in your couple. I don't think Omar is open to exploring anything with her, because at the end of the day, when they left the villa, they were both flirting. So if they were really that serious about one another, they would have explored that. But the reason being, I feel like they realized that there was nothing there. I think they just loved it because it gave them media attention, but not because there was anything there. Next up is Ronnie. Ronnie really went into his spill. He really poured his heart out. And you had poor Harriet crying, because I think this is what she was wanted from this guy. She's wanted him to shout it from the rooftops that she's the one, and he really chooses her. He says she makes him a better person, and so he is going to choose Harriet. He says the person I want to be with. He didn't say couple up with. He said the person I want to be with is Harriet. I really took note of that. So Harriet went and she was crying, and that was cute. Next up was Casey. Casey believes he's found his one. Do I think so? No. I think she's his one for the moment, not for forever, but for the moment. So he picked Gabby. Surprised? No. We have Sammy. Sammy picked, Elma. Elma was ecstatic. Surprised? No. Which left 3 girls, Tina, Danielle, and Ekin-Su. And it's like, why is Tina up there? We should have just left Danielle and Ekin-Su. We didn't need Tina there. And there's rumors that Scott has left the villa, so it could be the reason why. Maybe he's going to, just decide he's not going to couple up with anyone. So you have, Curtis stand up, and he was very vague in his speech, because he said there's someone who's come in and he's thrown herself in, which you should do as a bombshell, and then there's someone who's told him that she doesn't want anything to do with him. So we've been left on a cliffhanger, and we'll wait. He said he's going to follow his gut and his heart. I think he needs to choose Danielle. I think if he's after a relationship, he needs to choose Danielle. If he's after winning the show, then he'll pick Ekin-Su. But I can't wait to see what happens on Sunday. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 16. Bye, guys.